Good morning and welcome. So I thought I would start today with a quick segment of a webinar that I'm actually going to be putting up the recording this week for a company called VidCalls. They actually are a sponsor of the show, just so you know. So this is just a past and present experience thing.
Hello, this is Herb. What can I show you today on this video call?
Thanks for taking the vid call today.
That was fast and easy.
Can you walk over to the red car in the showroom? I have a few questions about it.
Here's what dealers, experts, and consumers think about making phone calls to dealerships versus the new video sales call technology from VidCalls.
So I don't know. Here's what I can tell you though. I believe that the customer wants to be met where they are presently. So if that is text, voice, video call, if it is web chat, they want to be engaged and engaged instantly.
Square one. But my opinion, my experience is I like to meet the customers where they are, because if I choose my preference in terms of how I want to communicate with people, I'm going to eliminate a large portion of my potential customers, right?
And so one thing that I think, as we've been pushing a lot of stuff digitally, which I do think has a huge advantage, at some point throughout that sales process or that service process, we have to connect to a live human to establish trust, to answer questions, or to actually like negotiate a deal.
And how do you reach people the best? You do it 4 ways. You do a phone call, a text, an email, and a video. So the beautiful thing about Joel's system is it combines a call with video. You're seeing the video, but it's not something static. You can actually talk to everything.
So that gives you a segment. And of course, if you are interested in the phone versus bot versus video call show, that is live on our YouTube channel. So let's get into the show. Here we go. Hold on a second. Here we go.
Life is about connection, having a support system to lean on, and roads to endless possibility. At every turn, guiding the way, we are building the connections that move you.
Hey guys, this is Wyatt over here at Cruise Motors. I just wanted to say I've been in Larry Feldman's training classes. This is the second time actually, and I would recommend him to anyone. He's very knowledgeable. I've actually learned a lot. I'm fairly new in the business here, and the most important part is I have a lot of fun. So definitely check him out. I highly recommend him.
How do you adventure? Is it fast? Is it free? Is it clear? Is it rugged? Is it remote? For your next adventure, trust MotorClose for buying, selling, trading, and protecting all of your motorized assets. Powered by Disclose Dealership Management Dashboard, your all-in-one DMS, CRM, menu, lead gen, inventory, staff, client, and deal management solution. Disclose DMD, like a DMS, only better. Mention promo code AutoHub2025 to get special pricing, including waive setup costs, no contract, and your first month's free.
Car dealers often underestimate the power of social media. Are you wondering why my face is plastered in your newsfeed? Are you a GM, dealer principal, or a manager in a car dealership wondering why you see me all the time on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and all over social media? Well, that didn't happen by chance. I target car dealers that are in-market shoppers for social media services, and I'm going to do the exact same thing for you so that you target in-market shoppers for your brand of customers that purchase your vehicles. During my Viato days, helping car dealers appraise and price cars, everyone was asking me, what do I do on social media? What do I do with Facebook, Instagram, TikTok? And this was back in 2016. So here we are 10 years later. I started a company, became an entrepreneur, and now I help car dealers. They either outsource their social media needs to us, or we have a training and education center where we can teach all of your employees how to do social media in-house. 90% of consumers actually follow a business on Instagram. The average adult sits on TikTok for 2 hours a day in the rabbit hole. To learn more information about it or to get a demo from one of my sales associates, click the link below. We would absolutely love to help you.
All righty. So let's get into it. So we have a number of new people on the show this morning. So let's start with some of the new people. And the show today, just so you know, is about the future of the internet. And that's maybe we can use that one. Oh, no problems, Larry. I'll change that up. All right. So the newest person, I think, as both Matthew and Terry haven't been on, but Matthew was here before Terry. So Matthew this morning, Matthew, maybe you can share what you're all about and also talk about the state of automotive websites in 2025, in your opinion, and what dealers can do to get results and create a better experience.
Yeah, thanks. So my name is Matt Copley. I am a co-founder at Horizon. We are a first of our kind AI-powered content publishing and copywriting platform purpose-built for automotive. We really power the helpful content infrastructure that is behind every great website, and more broadly, behind like managing brand voice at scale across every piece of content that your customer might engage. So we're in this fight every single day. We're really not a service per se, right? A lot of people sort of think of us as a service, but we're really just technical pipes that sit behind SEO agencies, a lot of dealers that are starting to take content on their website more seriously.
Okay.
But I think as far as automotive websites in general, you know, I've been close to this for a long time. I was in the ad tech space with Pure Cars for a long time. And it's always been a challenge, right? I think a lot of dealers are either forced into limited choices with websites because of OEM programs, or, you know, they're just sort of taking the out of the box delivery of a website,
right?
Whoever the vendor may be. And fundamentally, you know, that worked for a while. But we're in the midst of something right now that is a fundamental representation of the largest change to search in our lifetimes. Not only how humans are interacting with what search is evolving into, with interactions with AI platforms to search, interactions with Google AI to search, but also with how Google is ranking and digesting information. So what used to be okay or reasonably acceptable in the eyes of the OEM is fundamentally broken at this point. And so it's a good time for every dealership to be reassessing what does good look like from a website perspective, and really every OEM, Shift Digital, OEM program managers to be reconsidering sort of what the measure is that they rank good from.
Fantastic. Well, we actually have a gentleman on the call today who used to work for Google, and his official title was the automotive answer guy. So since you spent a lot of time mentioning Google, a small company, just in case you don't know who they are, I thought we would get Matthew's thought on the future of automotive websites and maybe what, I don't know, AI and search is doing to that.
Oh, man. You know, so there was an interesting article published last week by Wikipedia. Wikipedia came out and they kind of published their global trends, their global traffic patterns, and they were noticing a weird amount of traffic coming from Brazil earlier this year, and they weren't sure why, and they kind of dug into it. And the story is they now think most of that was AI or bot traffic, and that their overall traffic trend starting from the spring, say March to now, is down 8%.
Interesting.
Which for a website like Wikipedia is actually, immense and somewhat devastating, right? Because their ability to garner editors and funding and everything is really based on their traffic. So if their traffic is down, striking distance of 10% in 6 months, that is a very negative indicator for them. So what I think is that, and it kind of goes back to another question people used to ask me years ago when I was at Google, and that was is there a place where at some point, like the Google business profile will replace a dealership website? And the answer to that was fundamentally no. And the reason for that was that, Google was not in the business of replacing websites. Google was in the business of indexing websites for the purpose of leveraging the content on websites. So, and that has not changed. And the other tool, the other mechanism that a dealership website is critical for, we don't think about this or think about it like this in the dealership space, but in Google language and tech language, it's for the collection of first-party data, right? So every dealer is going to need a place where they can list their inventory and a tool with which they can collect and store their own first-party data. Are they doing that well? Do they save that data in a way that's safe or protected? Maybe not. Maybe not. Different questions. But what I think it means for the future of dealership websites is that every website will continue to be critical from the exercise of posting the data that's on it and for the purpose of collecting first-party data. However, traffic to websites will fundamentally change. Like the way traffic gets to and the amount of traffic that gets to websites will fundamentally change. And I'm in the airport in Quebec City right now. And spoiler alert that probably no one who's going to be at the presentation tomorrow is going to see this. But I don't know how big your French language audience is, Ian. But
I do know a French podcast, Renato, if you're interested. Just so you know, parlez-vous français a little bit in petit peu. Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to plow through in English and look like a stupid American. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, no problem.
But I demonstrate that in 2 slides that Google used to talk a lot about this notion of micro moments, and that there were these key questions that every consumer would go through, and they would take weeks to answer them around what is the right car for me? What should I be paying for it? Where should I buy it? And now with a singular well-written prompt, not even necessarily well-written, but with a singular prompt, I can get to an answer, and Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, whichever, maybe DeepSeek, maybe not. Don't use DeepSeek. But if you don't want your data going to China, don't use DeepSeek. But we'll give you like an answer to all those questions in one output with a list of 3 dealerships that currently have that in stock today, right? And that radically changes the amount of time I need to spend on OEM websites, dealership websites. And I think what will become more important will be, business owners creating web properties that are allowing that data to be consumed by AI in some of the historical SEO ways, like using a proper schema and tagging code, but in new ways, like leveraging the retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, which is a way you can share your data with an AI. So yes, change is coming. I think I mentioned this last time I was on your podcast. I woke up very early one morning a few months ago now, and I was angry. I don't know why I was so angry that morning, but I posted angrily on dealer refresh about, and I was just like, SEO is dead. Now that was a little aggressive. I was like, it's not exactly dead. It's more that it's just dying it will die a fairly rapid death, right? I've already seen in the Google Analytics of dealership websites, ChatGPT showing up as a source, like showing up as low. It's low in terms of overall source, but it's already showing up. And you fast forward 24 months from now, overall traffic will be down. The number of ChatGPT, Gemini, and Anthropic queries will go up, but they will be handling the upfront queries. They will be handling the upfront questions. The dealership website will be an end stop in the exercise.
Thanks for that. Now, we do have a website company on today, and I know that there is the website mafia, otherwise known as Shift. And there's also a couple other people that, sell stuff to different dealer groups and OEMs. But Terry actually has a different platform than the normal suspects. Not to say the normal suspects are good or bad. But Terry, what do you think, since you deal with dealers all the time on websites who maybe want something different, what do you think on the future of websites? And thanks, Matthew.
Yeah, great information. Yeah, so dealers are just, they're fed up with the old OEM websites and stuff. It's quite frankly, this is my little prompt that I use, if you can see that. Because that's kind of what they are, and people have continued to try to bolt stuff on these old websites. And I just tell them all the time, I go, you're not going to buy an old phone like this and probably put new technology on it. You're going to buy a new iPhone, new Samsung, whatever it is, and because that's the newest technology. So dealers are feeling, they've got lack of control. The OEMs websites are, rigid template forms and fonts and things they can't really adjust in their marketing to focus on what promotes their brand and their dealership and what's different. So, that's what's going on right down in the marketplace. And we're seeing that kind of, the dealer programs are kind of starting to fold, if you will. And Nissan just opened up and said, you know what, whoever you want to use, So that's, yeah. So, as far as Remora goes, we've rewritten our code 12 times. We've been in business since 2008. We started in the auto industry and still practice in that industry. We have a dealer, Santa Fe Ford, that is our R&D store. So everything we do, Christian and I both come from the car business. I started with Rick Case selling motorcycles as a kid and developed into that. So, I've been in it, whether it flies, floats, or you ride it, I can pretty much do it. So it's worked out pretty well. But that's kind of what's going on right now in the marketplace. I think the dealers have finally figured out that, the OEM's not doing us any favor. They're more brand protection than they are helping the dealer down the road, to sell the cars. So, that's what's going on. To Shift's point of view, as far as some of the detail, I don't know if anybody saw their Pulse report, but it was pretty interesting. It was at the beginning of the year, so they dove into 80 million leads across 16,000 dealerships.
Wow!
And then what they found was if you don't pass, the overall Oprah version is if you don't pass Google's PageSpeed Insights, you lose a ton of money. You lose 26% of shoppers. The site, it doesn't get optimized. You don't get pulled up in search. To your point, Matthew, about AI, that's if you don't pass any of that, a lot of that stuff isn't being caught by AI. So the way our platform is designed is all about organic search, and we're already coming up not only in the on Gemini, but we trigger the knowledge panel. When somebody puts in a vehicle, not only does it come up, when we dominate that, we pull up the knowledge panel as well. So it's very strong in the results side.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good friend of the show on. He was talking about AI searching for a video, and I'm actually going to put up a short clip on that because he went through it on the show live, which was pretty interesting. I'm sure today it would be a little bit different. But Larry, I know you're the most technologically savvy genius on the show with websites and cell phones and even flip phones. So maybe you have some thoughts on websites.
I would only be the most technologically advanced member if this show was held in 1801 in Bolivia. And even then, it might be kind of close. the interesting thing to me is, Terry, and Brody, as always, well stated, I've always been good at knowing what I don't know. For you, Terry, I haven't met you yet. Ian and I have become best buddies. We're joined at the hip on a couple shows, and he knows that I'm a very successful recruiter and trainer, and I was very successful car salesman and dealer, but I never get out of my lane. Because if you're trying to hold your own with people that know more than you know, rather than saying, hey, I don't know this, can you help me? Let me know. What really astonishes me is how many people, and a lot of them are successful, aren't aware of what they don't know. I don't sell websites and I don't sell SEO. I'm a motivational trainer and I find all positions, tech, whatever. But I would think that the easiest thing in the world would be to sell somebody a system or an upgraded website by just saying, you have 5 minutes. That's all I need. Let's go to your website. Let's see how easy it is to maneuver. Let's see if the links work. Let's see how happy you are. Dealers have to be pretty sharp cats. I was a pretty sharp cat. I was working in a bad area selling luxury cars. I had to deal with the same problems everybody does. Vendors that promise you the moon, salespeople that want to quit because the other dealer will pay them 90% commission. Usual nonsense. But it should be, we should be really on top of our product. I bet you, Brody, you haven't found any dealers that once a month have a relative or a friend call their service department, see how easy it is to make a service appointment, or have somebody mystery shop their own store. So when you consider that not everybody's as bright as the people on this panel, Peter Smith, all of you are very, very technically adept, but we're not dealing with people that are always technically adept. So to not go back to the beginning and say, how easy is this? The more simplistic things are, the better. And in a world where things are really complicated, well, you know where we can learn a good lesson? Wawa or 7-Eleven, if you're in the States. I don't know if they have them up in Canada yet.
Circle K. Circle K.
Okay, you pull into a convenience store and it's too crowded to get a parking spot. What do? You go to the next convenience store. Simplicity is everything. Ease of operation is everything. So I honestly think that everything we're talking about is going to change. We all know that because we've seen such rapid change. Yeah, Terry, you showed the flip phone. 2 things. One, some people are going back to the flip phone because young people are so stressed out by being able to attach to social media. And if you recall, 30 years ago, if you were really rich and successful, you had a mobile phone. It was this big. It was like carrying a briefcase around.
Yeah, it was called
Yeah. So as technology moves along, I have all the respect in the world for AI. I have all the respect in the world for technology. I play myself as dope for laughs, but I'm running 3 businesses off my cell phone. So I understand the importance of uncluttering technology. But I think what we're going to see is we're going to see twin paths. The people that get with AI, the people that capture it, the people that understand, as Terry said, how important organic search is, are going to rock. But I think you're going to see more and more people get successful by emphasizing human skills. Again, all of you dwarf me in technical knowledge. I'm not mad about it. I'm not happy. I'm just stating the fact. But every damn one of you, I see Matt nod his head. Matt has occasionally called somebody, sharp as he is, and all he wants to do is talk to a human being about a small problem. After 9 prompts, he's now ready to get a gun and go down and kill everybody in the office. So I think what we'll see is we'll see the need for AI and technology, because if your neighbor has it and you don't, you're going to lose, and a need for human beings. Matt, Brody, I am never going to go broke. I just keep getting richer and richer, because when I train, people go, man, that was really fun and I learned some stuff. We don't know how to communicate anymore. You guys are all, you're all, nobody on this program is 18 years old, so you'll understand what I'm saying. We know how to smile at somebody. We know how to change our pitch. And I didn't come up with this, but I love it. I heard a guy say, young people can do everything on a phone except talk. So if you can't do basic communication, if you can't look somebody in the eye, if you can't ask a question and get an answer, you're dead. So my thing is, we're going to see this technology go crazy. We're going to see it just get faster and faster and more complex, which means we have to make it simpler and simpler externally while we make it more complicated internally. And we're going to have to reintroduce people to looking people in the eye, smiling at them, answering their damn phone. And like everything else, we'll be fine. I mean, I'm not 100 years old, but I've already seen, 9/11 and the backfire of cash for clunkers. And when they called up dealers in the States, I don't know if it happened in Canada, they're like, you're really nice, but we're putting you out of business just because we want to shrink down our product. So I honestly think we're going to be fine. I'm from Philadelphia and I'm a musician. I always quote Jerry Butler, who's got a great theme we should all know, which is only the strong survive. And strength doesn't mean you got big muscles. It means you have the ability to adapt, which goes back to Darwin's survival of the fittest. Matt, I don't know if you ever worked at a dealership. I remember guys throwing their shit down and going, I'm out. I'm not going to deal with these damn computers. Why not? So I just think I think we'll see people skills come to the fore like never before, because it's a rare commodity, right? Why is gold more than tin? It's a rare commodity. And I think we'll see the sophistication of what's going to happen with this stuff is amazing. One last thing. I, like everybody, I think, hates robotic sounding voices. Man, I'm dealing with some guys, I'm helping them market themselves. Their technology is amazing. It's like talking to a real person. Remember, Peter, we were on a podcast together and somebody asked you to throw him a curve, Jeff Shearer, and you said, I want the Batmobile. So we're seeing technology get more sophisticated. We're seeing the need grow because you have to keep up. But I think we'll see a real groundswell for human beings. And as long as we can keep the human element involved and improve it, and keep the technology simple, I think we'll be in good shape. That's it.
Thanks.
I think
Thanks,
that was
Larry.
pretty good for a guy that can't use his garage door.
We have a couple of comments from LinkedIn. First of all, if you're in the Corvette space and you want to look at SEO and SEM for Corvettes, you can go to CorvetteResourceNetwork.com. It's an ecosystem for Corvette owners, which I wasn't familiar with. You can also go to buycorvetteparts.com, which I didn't know about. And we had a comment also from Mark Dibb. He says, a few smart cookies are featured. Good morning, gentlemen. So Peter, I know you're not analytic at all. And I had some questions, I guess, about websites. What do you think? You've obviously looked at a few.
So first of all, I applaud the news about Nissan opening up their website provider to anybody and everyone. Toyota was the first that went down this route by removing the gates and saying that you could only have one gate on a visit, rather than the asinine maneuvers that every single dealership and OEM wants by gatekeeping every single page, every single thing that you do. One of the things that I'm looking forward to is actually having user-friendly websites. And when I say user-friendly, is what is your number one piece of traffic that goes to your website? It's service. It's not sales, it's service. Yet, service is always on the top right of the navigation bar, not on the top left, and people read left to right. So why are we not promoting why the reason the person is there for? We bury it and we make it much more difficult for the individual to use our website. And what does that do to us? That reduces our trust rating, and we're already at a 38% trust rating in the industry. So how do we change that? We can change that by our digital profile, which is 17 hours on average before someone actually engages with us. So we got to wake up as an industry. I just came back from Digital Dealer, and we got to wake up in that industry and understand what the customer wants and stop the madness, absolute madness of not recognizing that digital retailing is a thing. When we look at the CDK Insights book, which you pulled up many times, the 78% of dealers think they have digital retailing. 63% of them think it's their website. 31% actually have a digital retailing tool on their website. Actually have an ability to conduct business. So if we look at just the three top companies in automotive right now, Tesla, Amazon, and Carvana, look at their market caps. Their market caps are greater than Toyota. Carvana, a dealership, Suedo dealership, has a market cap greater than Toyota. They're worth more than Toyota. So think about what they do. 100% digital retail. They're buying Chrysler stores as fast as they can get approved. Why? Because they know their model works. Amazon first signed Hyundai. We know there's 6 other OEMs that are in the background getting approved by Amazon to do the retailing right. Amazon had a big booth at the digital dealer, and they were recruiting dealers for their platform. That means that the digital space that we're dealing with and talking about, and that advertising and that billboard that we're creating, because that's what a website is, it's a billboard. It has to compete with everyone else out there. And if you're not doing it properly, you might as well just stop hosting your .com, because that's what you're doing. You're going backwards, and so many people are saying, well, you know what, we got our whole IT team on this. Yeah, really? Okay. Let's ask them 5 simple questions. If they can't answer them, then you're not actively pursuing it. And that's why I celebrate guys like Matthew here that are creating a different environment for websites. They're absolutely different environment, and they're more customer focused, and they're more engaging. And then, and we won't even go down the rabbit hole yet of AI and the chat searches with EEAT and everything else, and how SEO, as Brody said, is hanging on by a thread on the edge of the cliff, and is about to drop in the abyss. There's so much changes that we're in a position that, as was said earlier, foundationally, our business is going to change exponentially over the next 18 months than the entire history of our business.
100%.
In 18 months.
So I had a question for, well, go ahead, Matthew, but I also had a question for Grody. I know SEO, SEM is a question, but go ahead, Matthew, you had something to add?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to tie a couple things on that.
Yeah.
Larry said a few things that really resonate, and I was the reluctant participant in a car shopping process over the last 4.5 months. Being around the business 25 years, I avoided dealership like the plague, and my wife loves to go kick tires. So she was out kicking tires, getting us on the follow-up robot automation list from every dealer in the greater Charlotte area. And I will tell you that it was eye-opening. The most nonsensical sequencing of automations from robot receptionists, robot chatbots, robot email follow-up, often multiple different processes in each dealer. And what it opened our eyes to was the customer is now drowning in a cacophony of robot. And so in this future where every dealer is activating 5 vendors to disintermediate their relationship with the customer pre-store visit and often post-store visit, what's actually going to help the standout dealers win? And that is going to be the human element, right? The human being, the human touch then becomes the differentiator when everybody is spamming robot. Peter, to your point on service, it has been a head scratcher to me since I was on the retail side 15 years ago, why service is responsible for keeping the lights on and is a rounding error in the overall authoritative content on the website. So the upside opportunity for fixed operations is nothing less than staggering in this new environment, because chains have been winning by default. Otherwise, what do you see when you go search for parts or service questions? Some obscure blog, roll from still based on 2005 technology from 6 years ago, where some guy's talking about the part might work with a duct tape and a Leatherman. Like, there is an opportunity to carry forward all of the expertise that every dealership, but really is the de facto expert in the market, in their field of expertise, and nobody knows it because nobody at the store is empowering their people to carry that expertise forward into the website and tell everybody about the human side of the business, right?
Matthew, that dials into what I was talking about having the human element.
100%.
A lot of dealers will tell you that they won't give numbers to a salesman or salesperson until they took a demo drive. Why the hell isn't it mandatory to do a service walk? Why isn't it mandatory to explain to your salespeople that they should explain, if you use our service department, not only are our prices good and maybe better than an outside tire store, but you don't ever have to worry about voiding your warranty because we use all authorized parts. So once again, the technology's got to be there, but if the people aren't using their heads, if they don't understand how symbiotic the relationship is between fixed ops and variable, you're going to be exactly where you are now.
We had a quick question. We had a quick question from Randy Price for Remora. Are you endorsed by Shift or Unite?
No, actually, we're not on any of the OEM programs, and to tell
not
you
yet.
The truth, a lot of our customers don't want us to be on the factory programs because they don't want the neighbor down the road to have it.
Okay. No problem. Sorry to interrupt you.
I will tell you, we are co-opt 100% by Ford under SEO, and we are co-opt in some of the other OEMs under that umbrella.
So Ford, yeah, I'll introduce you to him after the call. He's interested and he has some questions. So thanks for that. So Matthew, I mean, obviously we're talking about SEO and SEM and AI. Do you think that that's the end of SEO and SEM is AI, or what do you think?
Me or Grouty?
Grouty, sorry.
Is it the end? Well, I mean, there's two parts, and there's a lot in that question. So first is, it seems like the prevailing wind is that AI search is going to eat into organic search pretty materially. Already is in some places. Will do more over the next number of months and years. Google has a plan for ads in AI overviews, so that has been rolling out in the US already. It's expected to roll out in Canada sometime in the next couple of quarters. I don't really know for sure, but the word on the street is that it may be in market by the end of the year. And the way any agency or independent dealer running their own ads accesses that ad placement is that they need to be using Google's AI ad solutions. So they have this kind of bullshit claim that you got to use AI to be in AI, but it looks like so you need to be using either Performance Max, AI Max, or Broad Match to get your ad into those placements.
Thanks for
that. Hey, Ian, I think you just turned Rowdy into our version of Winston Churchill with his end of the beginning speech.
But the other thing that is at play here, like the other the other thing that will take more time, I think, is that there is this, like Eric Schmidt came out at a conference. He's been on the conference circuit a lot over the last couple of years, and he came out and said that basically the interface as we know it is over, which is a delightful and complicated statement to make, but it really lends itself to this notion of applications built around the idea of zero UX or zero UI, where again, really hopefully, like the expectation that no one has seen this exactly yet, but melding the things that Larry just described around the importance for a human connection and tools that can emulate that as well as a human, but then build off of the data from an individual business, right? So again, I used this example last time I was on the show, and if you haven't gone to use it, I recommend you go give it a try, but go talk to Bordy, like give Bordy a call on WhatsApp. You can just bordy.ai, I think, is the domain name, but they've just done such a bang up job of making that application just seem like a buddy you call every once in a while and ask questions of. And I use it in demos all the time. I'm not involved with the company. I'm not an advisor or an investor. I just think the product is a really interesting illustration of what is possible. And I think, with the combinations of data that is surfaced through platform, through tools like what Matthew and Terry work on, and then built into a very humane interface that may not be a website, right? That will have multiple surfaces on it. One of those surfaces could be the web, one could be an app, one could be chat, one could be you just call it and talk to it. And I think it's this notion. I have some friends who, from my days in the book industry, who are working on this idea of what if you could talk to the book?
Interesting.
Right? This notion of what if I can interrogate the content, right? And so if you think of any commerce site, any experience where there's data and products and product IDs or vehicles and VDPs and VINs, what if I could interrogate the web experience and say, hey, well, I'm looking for a vehicle that meets these needs, and then kind of addresses, Matthew and Matthew's wife's experience with, robots that weren't addressing their needs, and that weren't a pull exercise, but a push exercise that was annoying and irritating, but allowed me to, talk to someone who, with probably less bias, if not no bias, relative to what shoppers experience at dealership, and just got to the fucking point. Like, just kind of answer the damn questions that I want to answer.
You mean like the cars from the Cars movie? Like Herbie and all that? You're like talking about, oh, hey, I'm a Herbie the Corvette or whatever. What questions did you have?
It sounds science fiction-y, but imagine if you could be like, hey, F-150 Lariat, tell me why I should buy you.
Right. So thanks for that, Terry. I just wanted to see if you could explain a little bit on the Shift and Unite, just because Randy asked that question as to why your customers really don't want you on those programs, but more importantly, what's the deal with Ford, just so that I'm answering Randy's question. But thanks for that, Matthew. Go ahead. Terry?
Yeah, so our services, like I said, are 100% co-op through Ford under SEO. As far as the shift programs or whatnot, they're kind of locked into the factory stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is, I'm not going to name sites, but a lot of them are old WordPress sites. Why do they use WordPress? Because it's free. Unfortunately, it loads all these different content, these different things that are behind the scenes that you don't really need as a car dealership. So we focus on just automotive only, and our platform is built just for that.
So it's not WordPress. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. Yeah. But, the reason we're not on those programs is because of all these other handshake deals that have gone on in the past.
Briefcase.
We're not going to be a part of, I'm not going to scam the dealer. I'm not going to sell them my program, and then they got to go through Shift and pay more for the same thing just because they're going to get a kickback to somebody else. It's not, we serve the brick and mortar dealers, not the OEMs.
Okay, fair enough. So Peter, you had a comment. Sorry, other than the talking car, like the cars moving. Maybe Disney's got an angle there, because I hear they're suffering a little bit right now.
So just to give you an idea, the whole point of any type of interaction is that human element between the dealership, the OEM, whatever, to get that human interaction. We're trying to create a way of generating leads to the end user, whether it's a vendor or a dealer or an OEM, whatever it is. We're trying to generate interest. Now, I was just at the largest dealership, or Ford dealership in Texas, and I put a post about it on LinkedIn just recently, and that has gone viral. The challenge is they create all this interest with their website and everything else, and then they focus on getting that interest into the dealership. That's all they do. They focus. I was there for 35 minutes in that dealership. Not a single person said hello to me. I walked around with a camera, taking pictures of everyone. I took pictures of all their addendums. I took pictures of all their cars. Took pictures of all their non-compliance. And then I walked out of the dealership after 35 minutes, not speaking to a single soul, because they were all interested in what we're capturing, and they're just dropping the ball. And that's the other thing. With the opportunity that we have with technology, they're not engaging technology in that point, because you could do 90% of that with technology, that your teams could focus on the customer experience, and they're dropping the ball. And that's something that we have to recognize when we have a great solution like yours.
Fantastic. So
Peter, I think
go ahead.
I just want to touch on something you mentioned, like the customer experience, right? Going back to this whole concept of why Carvana and Amazon are thriving and growing fast. You know, dealers misunderstand a lot of the time what value means to their customer. You know, you take 95% of dealerships here in the States. Look at if they are even posting on their Google business profile. What are the posts? All, 1995 circa newspaper ad style, interest rate, incentives, offers, whatever else. The problem is, like, the customer that they really want, they already know they can get a good rate, are pretty confident in their ability to get a pretty good deal. What's valuable to a shopper, like probably all of us on this call, is save me time. Make it easy for me, right? Let me see the car, research the car, see videos of the car, talk to somebody about the car, and then drop the car off in my driveway with papers for me to sign. Don't make me sit in the dealership for 6 hours, right? So that customer experience, right? If we can deliver sparks of joy to our customer in whatever interaction we meet them at, there's a higher likelihood to convert them to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. And so that's sort of the needle that we're trying to empower with our project, is really just empowering dealers, because they know what questions their customers are asking every day, right? Empower the dealer to meet the customer with a helpful answer to that question in the moment of intent, and then lead them to the next logical step in the path with a little spark of joy to take along with them.
Matthew, I disagree 100% with that. That dealers know what their customers want, because if they did, they would have a higher rating within their customers. They're more interested in going to a 20 group and talking to a dealer in Boise, Idaho, when they're in Houston, Texas, and thinking that they're going to learn something from that dealer. They're not listening to their customers. They're not creating focus groups in their dealership to learn what their customers want, and therefore they're failing miserably.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they know what they want, but they're the closest to hearing the customer and what they want.
Exactly.
So,
That's
good
more
correction.
Yeah. Well, what if Amazon asked you, listen, let me talk to my boss on the best price for this book I'm trying to sell you, or this bike, or this clothing, whatever it is. Oh, I'm going to suggest something else, but let me talk to my boss before I decide what to suggest.
Run down to the distribution center.
Well, are they? What was the phrase you used, Peter? They're actually, are they failing miserably, or are they succeeding miserably? I mean, I think they're still making a lot of money. It's just not the experience anyone wants, right?
You have to go buy milk somewhere. So that's the plain and simple. Everyone needs milk. You have to go buy milk somewhere. So are you buying it from the grocery store, the convenience store, or are you buying it from the gas station? Where are you buying the milk from? And it's not because you're doing a great job. You just have to.
That's where the milk is. Yeah, that's where.
Well, I mean, you look at what's gone on in Vegas in the last 2 years, where they've continued to increase fees, and now it's come to the point where they're trying to retarget higher end customers, but they've forgotten that really what drives the city is not those customers. It used to be driven by customers who maybe want a cheap vacation. So that's like trying to sell Mitsubishis to people who buy Rolls Royces. Like what, like, what are you thinking there? Like, not to beat up Mitsubishi, but when you're looking at digital retail and you're looking at these new entrants, whether it be Clutch or Carvana or Amazon, do you think dealers can really, afford not to do digital retail in 2025, or not to at least lean in? I mean, what do you think? Let's start with Terry on this, just because I'm sure he deals with some digital retail people.
Yeah, actually, since we've done all the websites, we kind of measure everything, and what we found that companies like AutoFi and some of the other ones, the first thing that clicks up is, when you click on it, is fill out a form. Well, as Larry will tell you, in the training side of things, you haven't earned the right to ask the customer for their information yet, and it instantly causes them to bounce. So we developed a lead tool, and it basically, like DR, digital retailing, but what it does, it just says, Matthew, how much do you want to put down? And the customer just goes along for the whole thing. And then when it comes to the trade, tell me about the trade, Matthew. What are you asking for your trade? Because you know what? The customers shop the heck out of it now. They already know what their trade is, some idea. But the key is here, you're not stopping the process. The customer is going on because they put the number in. So then it continues on further. And then when it gets to down payment, like I mentioned, they put that in. But then when it gets to credit score, it's just simply a slide rule. Tell us what your credit score is, because your credit card company tells you every month what your credit score is. So they know. So we took all the stops out of it. Dealers that have AutoFi that got 50, 60 leads, dealers that have ours that's native to our platform get 500 leads. So there's a lot, and the lead goes instantly into the CRM with their credit score, their down payment, what they're looking at. And we encourage multiple engagements, because as Larry's a trainer, he knows that, if this car is sold, what am I going to switch these people to? But if you engage that and let them fill out it on as many, cars that they're looking at, you have that alternative when the customer comes in. So that's what we did with digital retailing. We have a native app that goes into our platform that comes with it that really blows the door off of digital retailing. And then if you want to flip that customer into AutoFi or something with all the information you have the information to do it.
And
so you get
so you mean they don't buy the car they initially were looking at?
Right?
In the car business, really? So you came in for a minivan and you're buying a sports car, really?
He goes up and says, sold cars. I don't want a red car because I may be left in a maroon.
It was sort of red in a different light.
Yeah.
So Larry, you want to comment on that?
Yep. Selling a car is like shooting pool. It's not just enough to sink the ball. You've got to put English on the cue ball to set up the next shot. And astonishingly enough, if you heard tapes of the conversations that salespeople have. It's insane. If you ever want to laugh, forget the Comedy Channel or Comedy Club. Come to my class on day 2 when I send people out to mystery shop. I tell them to say they're there looking for a car for their sister who just had a baby. Whether I'm in Canada, whether I'm in Philadelphia, whether I'm in Los Angeles, instead of saying, congratulations, boy or girl, is it her first time being an uncle? It's always the same thing. Why the hell isn't she here? What's your credit like? How do you look online? So obviously, the easier we make it, the more we connect the dots. I think you'll all agree a big misnomer is a lot of people think a good car salesman should be a good talker. Wrong. He should be a good listener. Because the more you listen and the more you understand what people want, the easier it is to give them and the easier it is to connect. If we don't connect, none of this stuff matters, whether it's digitally or in person.
Fantastic. We're almost out of time. So we got time for final comments. So let's start with one of the Matthews, whoever wants to jump in first. The Matthew team. Go ahead.
Matthew Copy, you better say something because he wasn't clear on his instruction.
You're muted, I think.
How about now?
You're good now.
There you go.
We can hear you loud and clear.
So just to put a pin on the digital retail thing, I think every dealer should be leaning into digital retail, but digital retail is not like buying a tool for the website and just hoping it works out, right? The biggest breakdown that we see is fundamentally increasing in customer frustration because they'll go through all this process, they'll invest time at home in this joyful process of submitting their stuff, getting approved, picking a car, etc., and they show up at the store. Nobody knows what's going on, and they start the process all over again. So digital retailing is fundamentally a dealership-wide discipline that needs to be committed to wholeheartedly and refined and enhanced and that sword sharpened daily. I think what we're trying to solve for is empowering every dealer and every dealer marketing team in the country to take their expertise and carry it through to their website content. Because to Matthew's point, the new search experience, I don't particularly think SEO is dead until people stop searching for stuff. The old SEO that you've been buying through your vendor is absolutely dead. Keywords are no longer the goal, they're the seeds to drive deeper semantic search content that will feed the questions customers have with high quality, authoritative answers, and also the coming onslaught of AI agents that's going to be doing that research on behalf of the searchers that are searching. So what can we focus on in this coming year? I think really gut check if you're buying your website simply because you've got a co-op line on it. Okay, because the upside revenue that's on the other side of a high-performing website will make your co-op line look pedestrian by comparison.
Yep.
So talk to Terry. Mark Dibb commented earlier, he's got a brilliant website platform, high-performing as well. I think look at the out-of-program providers as you reassess if your website is really laying the groundwork for success in a post-keyword focused world. And ultimately, focus on building helpful content in your website as core infrastructure to empower every human and robot to get meaningful, helpful answers to the questions that they have every single day in your field of expertise.
Great comment. The other Matthew, the other side.
He got it. He nailed it. No, I was just going to say the reason any piece of technology fails, right? The reason dealership websites are in the state they are, and Matthew, you were alluding to this, is that there is no single piece of technology that is not also does not also require process and people and training, right? And so it is this trifecta of people, process, and technology layered together with training that makes any business work better. And somehow in automotive, we think we only need one or two of those things. And I don't know why that is. I can't quite explain it. Maybe it's just not a thing that NCM talks about at 20 meetings. I don't know. But it just seems like no matter what it is, we're missing. We think we can go all in on technology and not have the people, and that explains Peter's experience. Or we can go all in on the people and not the technology, and then you're missing a bunch of the lead opportunity, right? So it's not an either or. Was my Jerry Springer final thought.
Jerry Springer final thought. Extra bonus, boy. Terry, final thought.
Yeah, making it simple absolutely works. One of our number one stores is Bozard Ford in St. Augustine, Florida. They're a standalone dealer.
Great store.
We've had them for over a decade now. Just flipped to our new version 12, and their leads went up 700%.
Wow.
700 leads, I should say, not 700%.
700%. I was going to say that's pretty efficient.
So what they focus on is the experience.
Yeah.
They have 40 mobile trucks. They write 100 mobile ROs a day, and they write 500 ROs a day at the store. He would rather you use mobile service and have them come to you for the experience, because that's what people talk about, and it's all about that. So they've removed all the stops on the website. It's very simple, and because of that, the leads went up. They did almost 1,000 units last month out of a single Ford store in St. Augustine, Florida.
Wow. And if you are looking to take advantage of a new experience and upgrade your experience, VidCall is offering a free 60-day trial. You go to freetrial.vidcalls.com today. Peter, final thoughts. Keep it short. We're already over time.
Well, you can't see it, but that book there is from Bozart Ford.
Yep.
That's their motivational quote book that is sitting on their reception area. It's all about the experience. So I agree with you 100%, Terry. The challenge that we were facing, and it was said earlier, stop looking at co-op. Co-op is a great idea, great concept to return some of the income back to the dealer. But if you have a solution that's 18x on your ROI versus 1x on your ROI and it's co-opable, start making smart, intelligent business decisions. The second thing I'm going to say quickly is don't think you know, because you don't. And the reason why I say that is there's 3,000 plus automotive vendors out there. If a GM was to spend 15 minutes on each vendor for an hour a day, it would take them 3 hours to go through, or 3 years to go through all the vendors. Yeah. So you don't know. And we all know how they get vendors. Hey, who do you use?
Fair enough.
Simple as that. We gotta change that mindset and get people into a position in the dealership where they vet vendors.
Thanks very much. If anyone's interested in the hat, I've got some red, black, and blue left. Just send me your mailing address. I'll send it out. It's on me. Have yourself a great week. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.